Hello.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hi.
Where did I do volume?
Oh, guys.
Hey,
How
you
is
look.
it?
Darren, are you out on a spacecraft somewhere?
Yeah. Hey, I went to Kennedy not long ago. I'm into space now.
Oh, that is awesome.
Doug's in a time machine. Come back from colonial days and put on his headset.
I guess. So.
I'm balancing him out. He's in the past, so I'm in the future.
Hi, Walt.
Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good
Hi,
to see you.
Robert.
Hello.
Checked out too.
Very good. And here comes Mr. Devine, Paul Devine.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Miss Smith.
Hey, Paul. Hey,
Hey.
Jack. Rob.
Howdy.
Good to see you all. There may be a couple more coming on. And while we're waiting, I'll see if I can allow Doug to share his illustration. Let's see.
Slides.
So, Doug?
Yes, it says you've disabled screen sharing. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So that's okay.
What? I did not mean to do that.
Can you do it in interpretive dance?
Well, or what I've got your images that you sent on email to me, and so I think I could share that while you talk, right?
Yeah, I think let's do that then.
Let's see.
I'll do like I used to do at work and say next.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got it. Where did it go? Let's see. I've got to find it.
The Revolutionary War soldier with headphones is kind of disturbing.
Hey, Harlan, I got a new hat.
Awesome. I like it.
I need for you to do a little bit of help me spruce it up a little bit.
Okay.
My turkey feather is a little weathered and worn.
I got another one for you.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, Paul.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay. Let me get back to here. All right. Yeah, I've got it called up whenever Doug is ready, whenever we're ready for him to start that. So then I'll shift it over to his images. So Darren, I think you've got the ball now.
I just want to let you know that Cindy's here, and my brother's birthday is today, and he's in our chapter as well.
Is that
Oh,
Facebook?
great. Great. Happy birthday to your brother. Hi, Cindy.
Hi. Over here, my broken foot.
Okay. Oh, no. Injured reserve.
Congratulations on all your awards at the BOG. That's cool.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to kick off the meeting and call this meeting to order for the August meeting of Stones River Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution. And if you don't mind, Jim, would you lead us up with our invocation?
I would be glad to. Let us pray. On this occasion, Heavenly Father, send us thy grace and understanding to conduct the business of our society. Allow us words of wisdom and point out paths of direction as we fulfill our role as guardians of our national heritage. Join with us as we endeavor to honor the dreams of our forefathers by holding high the light of liberty. In the name of Christ, amen.
Amen.
And I'm going to surprise him. Paul, would you mind leading the Pledge of Allegiance?
I cannot. Oh, yes, I can. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And Doug, do you mind leading us in the pledge to the SAR?
We, the descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our
faith
in the principles of liberty in our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against every foe.
Thank you very much. And while we've got you, Doug, do you want to do this month in American War for Independence?
Sure. This is one that probably Walt and Harlan can do a lot better than I, but I'm going to jump ahead of where we've been. Jim, you can go to the next slide, please. This is what happened in 1775 in August. There was a lot of skirmishing going on, primarily, as you can see here, in South Carolina and Massachusetts and New York. But what I'd like to do is jump ahead 7 years to what happened in August 1782, because Walt and Harlan and myself are going to be participating in a commemorative activity this Saturday. So Jim, if you could go to the next slide. I'd like to talk about the Battle of Blue Licks. That was one of the last battles of the American Revolution. It took place like 10 months after Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown. So this is something, you know, the Eastern Theater pretty much was over, but on the frontier, there was a lot of activity going on. For instance, this thing, the Caldwell expedition, it was a group of Butler Rangers out of Detroit, came down and met with some Shawnee Indians and some other tribes. And they had about a force of about 1,600. And their intention was to attack Fort Henry, which is now Wheeling, West Virginia. They were going to cross the Ohio River and try to reclaim some of the land that they had lost during the Treaty of Hard Labor in 1768. But what happened was that some of the scouts for the Indians found out that George Rogers Clark was planning to invade the Ohio territories. So in order to defend the homeland, they decided not to proceed with this expedition. Well, George Rogers Clark, he had no intention of invading the Ohio territories at this time, but he had a gunboat that was going up and down the Ohio River, making sure that the American Indians did not cross and bother the settlers that were in Kentucky. But, you know, at this time, Kentucky and West Virginia were still part of the state of Virginia. So if you go to the next slide.
Okay.
So what happened was they stopped this invasion that was supposed to take place in July, but they decided to go to Bryan Station. Jim, if you could point down, it's right above Boonesboro. Do you see that? Right. And they did. They attacked with a smaller force, and the settlers were fortunate enough to get some intelligence and be able to go into their stockade. So for 2 days, these Butler Rangers, which were like among the loyalist camp, were like special forces. They were ruthless. They were just really bad guys. They laid siege, but while they were laying siege to Bryan Station, what they did, they slaughtered all the settlers' livestock and destroyed all their crops. So you can imagine what that was like in August. And some of you that have lived in Kentucky in the wintertime, it's not a place where you can just plant a second crop. So it really put a hurting on them. They finally broke siege after 2 days when they heard that the Kentucky militia was coming. And so they left on the 17th. The Kentucky militia arrived on the 18th. And Benjamin Logan stayed back, and he was trying to raise up more recruits. But you had people. Did somebody have something to add?
Oh, you mentioned Benjamin Logan. He's my patriot ancestor.
Well, there you go. He was in, I believe, Lincoln County. And so he wasn't at the Battle of Blue Licks, but he had a very important influence. So you had two groups, one from Fayette County. It was a smaller group, 45 people. And the group from Lincoln County at the time was about 135 men. And so one of the interesting things was that the lieutenant colonel that from Fayette County had an assistant named Daniel Boone, who was also had the rank of lieutenant colonel. And Boone got there and he surveyed the situation, and the guys from Lincoln County just wanted to go ahead and go after the guys, the Indians and the Butler Rangers. They already had a day lead. They're probably about 40 miles ahead of them, heading back to cross over the Ohio River. And Boone said, you know, no, let's wait for Logan. Let's wait for him and his recruits. But they didn't listen to him. So the guys from Lincoln County decided just to go ahead, and they got on their horses and they started to go, and the guys from Fayette County joined them. And so they crossed over the river there by the Blue Licks, and they were all on horseback. That got down off their horses. They formed the battle line, two ranks, and something didn't look right to Boone. He says, you know, the Indians are usually real careful about covering their tracks, covering their path, and they have really made everything obvious. This smells like an ambush. And so he told them, he said, guys, you know, we should not proceed. But there was a guy, Major McGarry. We don't have any descendants of Major McGarry, do we? He looked and he said, you know, he says, them that ain't cowards followed me. And he just took off. When nobody would listen to him, he just took off. He just took off up the hill. And the other officers, you know, they were losing control of their men, and so they joined Major McCary as he went up the hill. And Boone is quoted as saying, "We are all slaughtered men." And sure enough, as they went up the hill, it was an ambush. And as they crested the summit, they were met with a savage fire, just in your face fire, and many of them were killed instantly. The two lieutenant colonels that were on horses, they died. I know Harlan had a great uncle that was killed at this time.
Silas Harlan.
Right. I have a picture of the monument with his name, and it has right beside of it, killed. Well, so they realized that it was an ambush, and they were trying to retreat. You had Trigg on the right side from Fayette County, then you had Boone on the left, and then Todd and McGarry in the center, and the center and the left the center and the right collapsed. But Boone's left flank held strong and actually was advancing. And then McCary came up and said, "Hey, Boone, you know, we're all retreating. You're surrounded." And so Boone and his troops had to go down the hill, fighting hand to hand with the Indians who had flanked them. One of the sad things, and I'd like to read this last paragraph from this encounter. It says, "The Kentuckians began to flee down the hill, fighting hand to hand with Indians who had flanked them. McGarry rode up to Boone's company and told him everyone was retreating and that Boone was now surrounded. Boone ordered his men to retreat. He grabbed a riderless horse and ordered his 23-year-old son, Israel Boone, to mount it. Israel suddenly fell to the ground, shot through the neck. And Boone realized that his son was dead, mounted the horse, and joined in the retreat." Now, if you look at the next slide, you see the casualties and losses. You had 72 killed, 11 captured on the Kentuckian side. And the Loyalists and the Indians, American Indians, had 7 killed and 10 wounded. So Boone warned them that McGarry was bound and determined to establish his place and honor, and he led these militiamen into slaughter. And it was sad because, you know, Daniel Boone paid a tremendous sacrifice in the loss of his son. So that's the Battle of Blue Licks. Harlan or Walt, do you have anything to add? Or Jim?
I do not. Very well done.
Yeah,
You
it's
did
very
a
good. While we're
real
on
good
the
job.
subject, since we're already talking about the Battle of Blue Licks, do you and Arlen want to talk real quick about the memorial ceremony that's coming up?
Well, I think Doug still has some more presentation.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, we can go to the next slide. Just you know, I did want to point out that Walt is a descendant of Daniel Boone, right, Walt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so you're presenting the Tennessee SAR wreath, right?
I think so, yeah.
You're on the list as doing so. And Harlan is presenting ours from Stones River.
Wow.
Yes.
So
I need to get that from Darren.
Yep, we'll work it out.
Thank you.
I'll call you and bring it by your house.
I
Okay.
don't think you're going to need it. They were just saying you're going to do the bow.
Oh, there you go. I don't need it.
But
If you want to double check and just make sure.
That's what the meeting I think is for tonight.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Find
Yeah,
that
just
out.
this is a national event. The President Generals could be there. A lot of dignitaries could be there. The park has a limited participation to just a very limited number of people. So there will be a very limited people on site, but there will be probably 100, 150, maybe even 200 people from all over America joining, presenting wreaths, and also the virtual color guard will be coming to attention. I'm thinking that we'll probably go to present arms, so it should be a very, very moving. In spite of all this that we have going on in the nation right now, I think that it will. We have the ability at a national level to honor, especially these 70 plus men who gave their lives in this one of the last battles of the American Revolution.
And is this something that anybody can observe? They can watch online?
I think so. As far as participation is concerned, I think that
I believe the participation's wide open.
Well, I don't know. He was talking about closing it for, maybe it was just on the color guard or presenting wreaths. But as far as viewing it, I don't think they're going to restrict that.
I didn't know
Right.
if there was a link.
Viewing it, you can see it. Yeah.
Now, on the same day, we've got something else going on too, don't we?
I believe there's another one.
Later on that afternoon,
Now, what date is this?
Saturday the 15th, isn't it?
Saturday the 15th.
Just right around the corner.
If we can find the link, we'll send it out to the membership so that they can watch if they'd like. Well, thank you very much. That was a good presentation.
Thank you.
The monument's pretty impressive. Jim, do you want to do the memorial for Glenn Taylor?
Yes. I don't know if you can see the flag behind me, the SAR flag. I do have the black ribbon hanging there. And allow me to read from the obituary and some information about his ancestor. Glenn Jenkins Taylor, born April 21st, 1945, died July 20th, 2020, age 75, of Murfreesboro. A lifelong resident of Rutherford County, he was the son of the late Herbert Glenn and Molly Ruth Jenkins Taylor. Glenn was also preceded in death by a brother, James Russell Taylor. Glenn is survived by his wife, Carolyn A., or Kat Taylor, his sister, Sue Brown, and her husband, Roger of Milton, Tennessee, and several nieces and nephews. A visitation was held August 7th at Woodfin Chapel, and they had a celebration of life on another date. Glenn was a member of the Advent Lutheran Church and retired from Ingram Industries. He was also a member of the Sons of the American Revolution. He joined the SAR January 2nd of 2008. And he was also a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans and a former member and past president of the Exchange Club of Murfreesboro. And they're asking for memorials be made to the American Heart Association or to the charity of your choice. His patriot ancestor was Samuel Knox of the South Carolina Militia. He was born in Ireland and died and is buried here in Rutherford County. I was not aware of that until I read this recently. So his marker is nearby. Let me close by saying this for the departed from the SAR prayer book. Let us pray. God, the generations rise and pass away before you. You are the strength of those who labor. You are the rest of the blessed dead. We rejoice in the company of your saints. We remember all who have lived in faith, all who have died, and those most dear to us, especially Glenn Jenkins Taylor, who rest in your loving and eternal care. Give us in time our portion with those who have trusted in you and have striven to do your holy will. To your name we ascribe all honor and glory, now and forever. Amen. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We keep moving along. We've got a lot to cover here in a short period of time. Tonight, Walt and Cindy Timashuk are going to talk to us a little bit about Wreaths Across America. If y'all want to do that for us.
Okay, I'll start. Wreaths Across America announces the 2020 theme. Each year, millions of Americans come together to remember the fallen, honor those who serve and their families, and teach the next generation about the value of freedom. The gathering of the volunteers and patriots take place in the local and national cemeteries in all 50 states. It's gone international now, actually. Most recently at more than 2,000 participating locations as a part of the National Wreaths Across America Day. Each year, a new theme is chosen to help the volunteers and supporters focus on the message of reaching out to their own communities. Today, the organization announces a theme for this year will be an American worth fighting for. Be an American worth fighting for. And pretty significant. The inspiration of this year's theme came from a keynote made by Staff Sergeant Daniel Strong during the 2018 escort of the Arlington Welcome Stop at Massachusetts Regional Vocational Technical School, located in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. As an infantryman in the United States Marine Corps, he lost 18 Marines during his service. 3 were his friends when he was a Lance Corporal, 6 as a squad leader, and the remaining 9 as platoon sergeant. Each impacted the staff sergeant. Strong in a unique way as he witnessed firsthand what true sacrifice was and experienced the ripple effect it has involved on him. His message that December day spoke to the daily importance of the mission to remember, honor, and teach. And the emotion is now teacher ingrained in his junior ROTC students. Be an American worth sacrifice in your daily operations, in how you deal with one another, how you live your lives, said Sergeant Strong. Those young men and women are in Arlington National Cemetery and other cemeteries. They earned the right to be right for you to be an American worth fighting for. This sentiment speaks volumes as more United States military deploying to serve and to fight, if needed, to protect the freedoms and joy of the Americans. Each of them playing their part so that we come back home and be an active participant in our communities. In 2019, approximately 2.2 million veterans wreaths were placed on headstones at 2,158 participating locations around the country in honor of service sacrifices made for our freedoms. Each of the named King Saints said loud, we need to get our code reestablished with our wreaths. Okay, and I'm going to let Cindy talk a little bit. Our son just got returned from deployment.
This year, National Wreaths Across America is Saturday, December 19th, 2020. It's always a free event and open to all people. For more information on how to volunteer locally or sponsor a wreath for a hero, please visit the wreathsacrossamerica.org. Our son Tech Sergeant Philip Timashuk just got home from deployment in
Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar Air Force Base in Doha, in Qatar. 126 to 130 degrees. I was complaining about hot sun. That's hot. Shade is a space commodity. It's a scarce commodity. We're birds that just go flying across the sky and they fall out, and animals perish just coming out of the shade into the sun. You get a dark suntan right through your uniform. The only place he wasn't tan was on his chest where he had armament. He had to wear like 80 pounds of armor in that terrible heat, and 90 degrees is balmy for him.
At night.
Yeah, glad to have him home. He told me the green actually hurt his eyes when he looked at all the trees when he got back. He had gotten so used to different colors of tan and the dirt, and he said you cherish the clean air you breathe, and there's just sand and dirt constantly flowing from the desert. You cherish the sight and the clean sunrise and sunset. He's from the 434th Operations and Medical Squadron and is repairing heavy aircraft and working with the Ravens. They, in fact, a bunch of pilots, when he was in Maine, took him out for a couple drinks. They really appreciate the way he fixed the airplanes. I'm proud of him, but we got to keep this going. We got to keep the pride in America, and it's really stirring to see the wreaths spread out in the graveyards. It's very emotional. For me personally, we get not only Civil Air Patrol, but we get the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and everybody's wearing the DAR and the CAR, and they're all wearing their uniforms. And we wear the BDUs, and it's a moment. And you learn about the history. They talk about it, and sometimes usually they have a representative of the committees that speak, and it's very moving, and it's a good memory for our history.
One thing I sent to Darren, every event is different. When you go to these events, every event is different. And I'm gonna let him send that out to the group. And also I put together kind of like a brochure, and I'm gonna let him look it over, and if he feels it's right, he can send that out to the group as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Walt and Cindy. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Also,
Jared?
yeah.
Can I just interject something real quick? First of all, I really appreciate Cindy and Walt, the sacrifice they made with being apart from their son. What an amazing legacy they have. Another thing is, I was a new member last year, but of all the things that I participated in, Wreaths Across America, going with Harlan to the Nashville Cemetery, and see those bikers come, with their leather jackets and patches, and hear those kids from the junior ROTC, hear them speak. That really, it was probably the most emotional thing that I participated in with SAR. And I really appreciate the work that Wreaths Across America does. And I hope we can get more chapter engagement this year, because it really kind of puts in light what, a very important aspect of our organization, I think.
Yep, I agree. And last year we signed up, but we signed up late. This year we're already signed up, ready to go, so we can get a earlier start this year. We had several members attend both Stones River and Nashville's National Cemetery. They sort of made this one a combination of DOT and state meetings so that they could get everything taken care of. Some of the highlights from it were Tennessee was part of the 7th District. There were 4 states that were part of that. And the Vice President General for the 7th District, Bobby Joe Seals, was in attendance at the meeting. He joked that since the national meeting got canceled, the National Congress, that we were stuck with him for 2 years this year this time instead of 1 year, which is normally what they serve. But he's going to carry through and continue to be the Vice President General for that district. He also inducted all of our new officers and directors for the next year, which we finally got to do. I think they were already sort of performing the duties that were necessary, but he officially inducted them so that they could take over. Mark Norris became the state president. Steve Gaines, I believe, is the president for next year, the president-elect. And Fred Underdown is the vice president. So they got that. Past President Carr received the Patriot Medal, which is the highest award the state organization can award. He got it from Mark Norris for outstanding service to the society. There was also a move, there was some business taken care of as well. There was a move to confirm any and all acts done during the 2019-2020 pandemic, just to officially endorse any of the decisions that have been made by the leadership team while we were able to meet and have a big governor's meeting. They covered the membership, which, as you know, last year we pushed really hard to try and get 100% renewal. We got, I think, all but 4 people, and one of those had passed away. So we did pretty well. There were, I think, three chapters in the state that managed to get 100% participation, but we were one of the top ones, so that was good. The state membership is currently standing at 1,387 members, which was really good because of the 4 states that are part of the Southern District. It's Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Georgia. Sorry. Alabama, Mississippi, sorry. We actually have the most members. The next closest is Alabama with just over 1,000. Mississippi has a little over 400. Louisiana has a little over 640. So at 1,387, we're pretty far out ahead. So hopefully we can maintain that lead. But the district total has about 3,500 members. He also mentioned that there is a Southern District medal set. I think it's the one I've got that I wear on my suit. But there's a Southern District website, and if you're interested, that medal set is $40 plus $5 for shipping and handling. You can go to the Southern District website and purchase that if you're interested. If you can't find the link, let me know and I'll send it out. Let's see. There were awards. Was really surprised when David Carr was giving out the Americanism Awards, and Stones River won for a small chapter. They got a nice. Whoop, it didn't work. I think you're showing, but we got a nice certificate that I sent out a picture of. I was so surprised they actually had to call me twice to come up and get it. But medium chapter winner was Stephen Holston chapter. Large chapter winner was John Severe. And the overall winner was Stephen Holston. So hopefully we can do well in Americanism again this year and get recognized as well. But that was really nice for them to recognize it and get a certificate for that. President Norris, in talking to the membership, stressed 3 important points that he wanted to make sure we touched on this year. One was communication, especially in the middle of a pandemic. It's been hard to keep in contact with everybody. We're doing our best with the Zoom meetings and emails and phone calls and things like that, but he encouraged everybody to keep that up. Some chapters are trying other things. I know one of the chapters did a in-person meeting, but they did it out at a park outside where everybody could spread out. But that meant that they had to go on Saturday during the day. So a little warm at this time of year for that. But anyway, people are trying different things, but I know a number of chapters are just not able to meet, and that's too bad. I'm really glad we're able to do the Zoom meetings. I mentioned keeping and retaining membership, and then keeping a sense of purpose for why we're here and why we do. There was a quick update about Louisville. I didn't think about this at the time, but as you remember, there were some of the protests that were going on in Louisville. And Surgeon General Daryl Addington noted that the unrest that was going on there was at least 2 blocks from headquarters. I didn't think about headquarters because they're tearing down statues and breaking windows and things like that. There was some concern. We've got the library there that has a lot of artifacts. And I think there's a big Minuteman statue out front. They've got the museum, so there was some concern about that. But they said so far it had been a couple of blocks away from the headquarters. So
They actually have that Minuteman wrapped up.
What?
The Minuteman statue is actually wrapped up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's got a label on it saying it's under renovation, so people keep their hands off it.
Yeah. So they were doing the best they could to protect everything, and it looks like they did a pretty good job. David Carr reminded us that the in-person Sycamore Shoals event on September 11th and 12th is going on. They were going to try and do it virtually, but he said it was just too important not to do it in person. If you don't know, that's about the gathering that happened where the soldiers gathered to head to South Carolina. They ended up at Kings Mountain, Battle of Kings Mountain. So if you're interested in attending, you can register online for that. Let's see, there was a new Eagle Scout chair. I think we used to know the old Eagle Scout chair, Walt. But there's a new Eagle Scout chair. His name is Austin C. And so he gave us a little background on himself. Also, President Mark Norris suggested that taking your personal feelings out of it, politics out of it, that we give Lamar Alexander the Gold Good Citizenship Medal for his service to Tennessee over the years, and that was approved. As I mentioned before in my email, we're going to start handling all the grave markers for the state, each BOG meeting, except for the one in the summer that's part of the annual meeting. What we'll do is the state presidents can place an order with us, and we'll have a deadline. They have to get us a check by then, and then we'll place an order with the manufacturer who's in Lebanon, and then we will pick up those markers and bring them to the DOG meetings and distribute them. I've already got an order for 10 in, and I'm waiting for the check to come in. So there's that. I think that was about it for the Tennessee meeting, unless Walt remembers something I don't, because he was there too.
You did a good job.
He was busy handing out awards, so.
Yeah, that was a circus.
Yeah, they had several. They were like, we can't find the certificate, but we can find the medal, or we can't find the medal, but we can find the certificate. So they were doing stand-in medals and certificates while they were taking photos. It was interesting, but they got it all worked out. The next thing I wanted to cover is Mark Norris is promoting a thing called the American 250 Legacy of Liberty series. And what it is a series of it's a series of online presentations that I believe they're going to do through Zoom. I had it pulled up here to talk about here. Oh, here we go. Anyway, so they've announced the first one. It's Saturday, August 15th, I think, which is what you're also thinking about as the other thing that's going on that day. But it's the first in a series of online presentations commemorating America 250, the birth of our great nation in 1776, and the ongoing pursuit of a more perfect union. The Legacy of Liberty speaker series focuses on what the founders wrought that gives life to liberty today. Our first presentation commemorates the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which is one that recognized the ladies' right to vote. And so it's set for 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central on Zoom, August 15th. I will send out some information so that you will have the link to it. But it's called Ratification of the 19th Amendment and the SAR Connection, with Tyler Boyd, who's the presenter. He's the author of a book called Tennessee Statesman, Harry T. Byrne, Women's Suffrage, Free Elections, and a Life of Service. And if you don't know, I believe Harry T. Byrne was a past state president, and he was also the deciding vote in ratifying the 19th Amendment. So that should be pretty interesting. This series is going to feature guest speakers on a variety of topics, including history, civics, and current events, connecting us to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So as I said, I will send out the link for that. It's got the meeting ID and the passcode if you're interested in participating.
Well, I encourage everybody to participate because it's one of those check marks for Americanism.
Oh, yeah, that's hopefully the Americanism score. And if you do participate, let me know, and I can add it to the spreadsheet I have to keep track of. But also, I mentioned this before, but even though we think 1776, 250 years, it's still 6 years away. It's really not, because there are a lot of events that led up to the Declaration of Independence that are being celebrated, that are part of this whole America 250 program. And then we're also lucky because the state chairman for the America 250 committee is Walt, who's also our chapter chairman. So he's heading up all that. So they've got a lot of good ideas in the works. There's one for putting flags in the classrooms that was brought up. And Walt mentioned one about Liberty trees.
Liberty Trees, right?
Yep. So there's some really
a music contest.
Yeah, the music contest. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they're working on that are coming up. Make sure.
Just want to correct something here. Some people think it's just going to be going to 2023. No, it's not. It's going farther. It actually started a few years ago with the Intolerable Acts. Okay, now, but it goes all the way through the Treaty of Paris. So that's actually the 2033. So we're going to have to, this is one of those things that you can earn over time, but I encourage everybody in the chapter to get involved with it.
Yep.
And get your families involved with it, because it's one of these things, it's going to be going on for a while. So you can earn these medals. And there's a bronze, a silver, and a gold. Now the bronze is in chapter and local area. The silver is in state and region. And the gold, you can actually earn that because of the national events. So I just want to make you aware of that. And as soon as I'll pass that to Darren so that we can pass that out to you all too, as far as the requirements.
Okay, that'd be great. And I guess we're all old enough to remember the bicentennial when it was here and how excited everybody was for it. So I'm hoping that this is going to get the same kind of national excitement that did.
Hopefully all this other mess is behind us, right?
Yeah. Next thing is flag certificate. Most of you, probably all of you, know that last year we presented a flag certificate to Mission Barbecue for their patriotic display of the American flag, and we haven't done one since. But I would like to get, if you see someone who you think is deserving, send me an email so we can put them on the list to see about getting a flag certificate. I would like to make a motion. There is a company out on New Salem Highway out toward Eagleville that is Triton Construction. They have a very, very large, wonderful flag out there that's beautiful. They keep it in good shape. It's well lit. All the stuff that is supposed to be to present it properly. So I'd like to make a motion that we present them with a flag certificate.
I think Trident deserves one.
What?
I think Trident deserves one.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
second that motion.
You second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jim seconded. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, that carries. Great. We will.
I got another recommendation, but I don't know if it's been presented. Has
What?
Alvin C. York Medical Center gotten one?
Not that I know of.
They do a good job about the flags.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah.
That's true. Darren, I've got about 8 or 10 blank flag certificates we can use.
Okay, great. And I've got a few here too, and I think I've got a couple that may be signed, but they may have David Carr's signature, so they may be expired now. We'll see.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if you've got ideas, send email them to me if you would, please, and I will start a list so that we can start doing these on a somewhat regular basis. Instead of once a year, we can do it once a quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
One other thing I'd like to cover real quick before we do the recessional is part of the America 250 thing. Walt was sending out a spreadsheet to get committee chair listings for all the different chapters. So I thought that'd be a good time for me to bring up the fact that we have several committees. We have lots of committees. We have very few of them chaired. And some of the more important ones include things like the DAR, CAR liaison, Eagle Scout, ROTC, JROTC, Rumbar Oration, Night Essay, I mean, we've got covered America 250, Color Guard, Webmaster, but we have several open. I'm covering a lot of that, but we could always use more help. So if anybody's interested in one of those, or if you want to see a list of the all the committees that are available, I can send you a list if you want. If there's one you're interested in, let me know. We can always use a chairman to help get those going so that we can have more outreach into the community and be a little more active. So that'd be great. Does anybody else have any other business to cover?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a roster that's published of our members so we know how to reach people?
We do. We don't have it published like for everybody to see, but we do have a list of all of our members, especially active members. And I mean,
could we even just get one of the board?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You want a list with emails, or what would you like?
Pardon me?
You want a list of names and emails, or what would you like?
Yeah.
I'll
Just
send it to
so
you.
if you have a question, you can reach out to somebody, you can find them.
Yep. You can do that. Yeah, I will send that to you. Also, if you don't know, there's a Facebook page that you can always contact us through. There's an email address. In fact, the next email I send out, I will try and remember to put all that on there so that everybody knows how to get through them. I keep assuming everybody knows, and I shouldn't make that assumption. There's also an Instagram page, and you can contact us through any of those as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Darren, one thing I'd like to bring up, youth contest. We got the poster contest. We got the brochure contest. We got tonight's essay. We got the rumball. We got the CER essay. We got the Eagle Scout Award. This is a perfect opportunity right now. These kids have just started school. Now it's a good time to engage them, to keep them busy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And reach out to your family and friends and neighbors that have eligible kids to do this, and say we're your local group. You know, basically. And
a lot of these have a deadline of
CAR and CAR as well.
Yeah, and a lot of these have a deadline of December 31st. So if we reach them now, they've got 4 months or so to get everything in order and to get ready for it. So hopefully we can avoid the thing last year where we got an entry the day before the deadline we had to deal with. So
I just wanted to let the chapter know one thing. I cannot take the Eagle.
Right.
And the reason for it is I'm on the national board that selects the national winner. So I have to defer. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So
yep.
One other person have to do it.
Okay. Anybody else? Comments, questions, jabs, barbs, anything? All right. If you will join me, please, in the SAR recessional. Until we meet again, let us remember our obligation who gave us our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, an independence and a nation of freedom. And thank you all very much for showing up. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it and you got a lot out of it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, and I will make sure to send out those other contact points.
Right. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Nick, take care.
You
Good
too.
to see everybody.
Guys, take care.
Tell your son welcome home.
Will do.
I'm sure they will.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks.